Josh Rodriguez and Kyle Yeomans.
Welcome to Talkin Cowboys on a Friday. We are here live from training camp in Oxnard, California. Nate, did you want to do the open?
No, I just love how you come. I mean, you be talking just normal, plain to us. You know what I'm saying? Get your professional tone.
Yeah,
Did you start over and start it again?
Welcome to Talkin Cowboys, live from training camp in Oxnard, California. We're here. I am Josh Rodriguez. I'm here with Patrik No. Walker. I'm here with Nathaniel Newton. Christopher Paul Beamer in the background doing his thing, killing it. Absolutely.
As always. Nice, crisp white hat. I don't know how it keeps that hat white. Because, okay. That's you can't hide money. A new white cap every day.
You get 3 or 4 wears out of a white hat, and then you got to toss it or something. Or, give it to a loved one or such. Boys, we're here. It is a beautiful Friday. We didn't have a traditional practice yesterday. We had walkthroughs yesterday. Yeah. But let's catch up on news and notes. Patrik No. Walker, do you want to kick us off?
Got a couple of transactions from the Cowboys in the wake of the Sam Williams torn ACL. Obviously, like we talked about, he's out for the season. Cowboys, knowing that they need some defensive end help, they worked out 4 guys. 3 of those included a name like Carl Lawson. You had Shaka Toney, Al Quadin Muhammad, and of those 4 guys, because you had Hollins in there as well, but of those 4 guys, Shaka Toney, and Al Quadin Muhammad, they got the nod, so they were signed, and it was made official this morning. I got the text this morning. It was made official. So they are expected to be on the practice field as early as today, which is the 3rd padded practice, to make room for those additions. The Cowboys waived injured, undrafted rookie wide receiver Corey Crooms, who had a lower leg injury. I'm told it was an ankle injury. So he's going to hit waivers, and if he clears waivers, he'll revert to the Cowboys IR, and they may work out an injury settlement at that point. But Corey Crooms, he was promising in rookie minicamp, OTAs, and mandatory minicamp, but suffers an ankle injury. Cowboys are now at a full 90 plus 1, the plus 1 being rookie Denzel Daxon. Obviously, he's of Bahamian blood, and so he goes with the IPP exemption. So 90
is it true the Cowboys did not know that?
It is very true. Fortuitous for them, because when they signed the young man in April after the draft, that was not the intention of signing him. They saw something in him. They wanted to get him out here in training camp and see what they can develop. And then after signing him, it came to their attention that he is, in fact, a qualifier for the IPP International program. So, yeah, he is a plus 1. So if he can either earn his way onto the active roster, or if he turns out to be good enough to be on the practice squad and they carry him and continue to develop him, he will not count against a practice squad seat.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
That's good to know. Yeah. Knowledge, information.
Science, if you will.
Science.
Yeah, science.
Yeah, science. We don't have the drop like we usually do. But Nate, what did you think of practice yesterday? What did you think of the walkthroughs? What do we get out of walkthroughs?
To be honest with the public, and to be very frank with everyone, I do not get anything out of walkthroughs. I don't even participate in the walkthroughs. That's for the scientists over here, the mad scientists, to watch these practices and these walkthroughs, because we can't divulge anything from these walkthroughs. We can't take movies. All we can do is take still shots. You know what? Have at it. What did you gain from this, Patrik?
Well, I'll say this because I know that yesterday Nate was working on his tan. Because he loves having the sun on his back. He's working on his tan. But, yeah, like he said, there's not much to take away from the mock games as far as what can be publicized. But as far as scheme and as far as personnel, the biggest takeaway is that Trevon Diggs was taking first-team reps in that mock game walkthrough. Does that mean he's ready for padded practice? No, that's not what that means. But it does mean that he's taking strides toward finally getting on the field for the Cowboys. So you have that. Tyler Guyton, he was also taking some more first-team reps in the mock game, which is beginning to become a trend, because he was taking them in the first mock game. He took them in the first padded practice when Edoga was being looked at for injury, but Edoga was back in the second padded practice, and guess what? Guyton was still getting some first-team reps. So as far as positioning that personnel, you can take those things away, and those are the two bigger takeaways that I had from yesterday.
As far as Trevon Diggs go, goes with the injury, do you think the Cowboys should have him on a snap count? I think I already know the answer, but I think for people at home curious, do you think he should be on a snap count going into the season, recovering from this ACL tear?
Yes.
Ooh. Now, we didn't do this with Terrence Steele last year.
And how that ended.
He struggled a little bit, and I know Nate and I were talking about
Exactly.
this yesterday. As far as the possibility. Oh, shouts to John, the lawnmower man.
Yeah, he's getting closer.
John Lawn is his name.
Yeah, John Lawn. I like that.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
a nickname I can get on board with.
Not any
Johnny,
of the
Johnny, Lonnie. Yeah. We're not doing that.
Good with Patrik.
We're not doing that. But, yeah.
All right.
Wow,
Fair
wow.
enough.
John blows. But no, I do think that they should work him in gradually. And I know Big Nate kind of brought this up on Wednesday on the episode, as far as Nate's willing to say, kind of sit him a couple games. I don't know that I'm completely there, but I love the logic behind it, because I say you ramp him up. You saw Terrence Steele struggle in being put back out there immediately. You saw Michael
Thrown into
Gallup,
the fire, basically.
Yeah, you saw Michael Gallup struggle in being put out there immediately. And I think that Trayvon Diggs is just far too valuable to the franchise to rush him. And to that point, they've not rushed him to this point. They've been very deliberate, very cautious, and hopefully they keep with that, because now you have the cornerback depth, especially with an addition like Talkin Carson on the boundary. Even without Stephon Gilmore, you have the cornerback depth that will allow you to maybe split reps with Trayvon Diggs and Talkin Carson over the first couple of games. And then maybe by the time you get to October, maybe Trayvon is a full go as far as playing time goes.
My thing is, I over-exaggerate when I say 8 games in, 6 games in. But that's how far I'm willing to go. But I'm not a part of the training staff.
Of course.
I'm not Trayvon Diggs. He will know, the training staff and him will decide. But I just believe when you have invested what they've invested in Trayvon, like they did with Steele and with Gallup, it's just it's not a now thing.
Right.
It's a future thing too.
Valuable.
And so
It's a bigger picture.
Yeah, and that's my big thing. And I do go overboard with that particular injury. If a guy had a elbow or something like that, or a big toe, that's one thing. But you talking about all of these guys had almost restructured knees.
Yeah.
And that's a mental thing, man. I've just seen it with players in the past, and it seems like the guys that take their time and kind of be on the snap count, kind of come back gradually, seem to have a lot more success in the long run.
I'll add this for those that might be wondering, well, Big Nate, no C, you're saying, put Trayvon on a snap count first couple of games or so, but you're not saying that about John Stevens Jr. You're not saying
That's
that about
fair.
DeMarvion Overshown. The reason we're not saying it is because the timing of the injury, okay? John Stevens Jr. and DeMarvion Overshown, they suffered their torn ACLs weeks prior to
During the preseason.
Trayvon Diggs, correct. Trayvon Diggs suffered his middle of September. So he was roughly a month behind. And that tracks with what we're saying. We're fine with DeMarvion Overshown going out there being unleashed in week 1. We're fine with John Stevens Jr. being unleashed week 1. But look at the timeline. We're saying ramp Trayvon up so that by the end of September, which will then be just over a year from him suffering the injury, he should be a full go.
And another thing, understand this right here. I'm a realist.
That's
no
facts.
one is really talking about Overshown. No one is really talking about John Stevens. What everybody's asking the question is Trayvon, and that is what we're answering. If you ask the question about these other guys, I will basically give you the same answer.
Oh, that's fair.
You know what I'm saying?
I also agree that I disagree almost to a point for DeMarvion Overshown. I kind of want to wait on him too. I would put him on a snap count personally, only because I need him at the end of the season.
So
they have
you know what
him
I'm
there.
saying?
So here's
concerns me.
But they have him there too because they will not let him.
But
do
they
a
know
lot of
better than
special
I do.
That's
teams.
exactly what I was
Yeah,
going to
they
say.
have him
So
there.
what if we split the difference there and do exactly what they're doing and saying, here's your number of snaps that you're going to play DeMarvion Overshown, and they're going to be defense, not special teams.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then come October, they start working him into special teams if need be, but they already have him on a snap count.
Yeah.
Difference being Trayvon Diggs is not playing special teams.
Right.
So,
fair enough.
the math ain't math when it comes to Trayvon Diggs. But, yeah, they're willing to split the difference with you. They're already doing it on Demo.
And John Stevens.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Same thing.
And we all want to see him, of course. But I think just part of me is a little has PTSD from those injuries and like wanting to see them on the field after training camp last year. Them being so explosive on the field last season. I really need to see him on the field this year. But I'm cautiously optimistic.
You're listening to three guys that just giving their opinion. Britt Brown, Jim Meyer,
yes,
and these players will make their decisions on individual needs. Not wants, individual needs, and for them, and then the team. So, but this is just our opinion.
Yes.
Now, we're excited about these guys, and we want to see them as quickly as possible. But I think the difference in us and most people, we want to see them safely.
Yeah, the right way.
Yes.
Absolutely.
The right way.
That's what we think is the right way.
Yeah, that's true. Because, like you're saying, Big Nate, when it comes to Jim Meyer, when it comes to Britt Brown, incomparable job that they do.
Yes.
And nobody's going to convince me they're not the best in the industry at what they do. I've seen too much as far as player recovery and things like that from the Dallas Cowboys to not give them their roses. So, like Big Nate is saying, they're going to look at all the variables, which includes information we don't have, scans and MRIs and things like that, development trends, and then they're going to get with the player, they're going to get with the coaching staff, and they're going to get with ownership, and especially on a player like Trevon Diggs, and they're going to make the ultimate decision. And it's just us saying how we would like to see it ramped up, but that's not to say they won't take that road anyway.
That's fair. All right, boys, we had a press conference yesterday with Micah Parsons. Micah Parsons talks to the media and was talking about playing in different positions on the field. And we talked about it last episode at linebacker. When we saw it in the pressure drill last week, or it was a couple days ago. Did you take anything away from what Micah said about playing in different positions like we've talked about before?
Weapon X, as you call it.
Weapon X.
Okay, Weapon X.
Yes.
I like that. Of all the names people have given him, that weapon, the words you use
that's
is
how
weapon.
that's how you nickname.
Right.
That's how you do it.
And so,
not Michael Parsnips, right?
No, it's Weapon X.
I've always been a proponent of him being a linebacker / pass rusher because the linebacker gives him a chance to make plays all over the field. I'm not saying they can't line him up at different down lineman positions, standard down lineman, but as a linebacker, and you not knowing where this kid going to be, man, and the schemes that Zim can come up with to make him so much more of a complete player. I understand he is the elite pass rusher. I would give him elite player, not yet. And I think if he can absorb the defense, learn the little nuances of the defense, and put his heart, mind, and soul and more of his mind into this game, man, we will see another level from this Parsons kid. I believe he has another level.
And I agree. I do believe he has another level, and I think that he believes there's another level as well. And I posed the question to him as far as, like, the plan and will that change with the loss of Sam Williams. But before we get to that particular portion of it, yesterday's conversation with Micah Parsons was the most detailed as far as revealing what the plan is from Mike Zimmer, from Micah Parsons. And people are wondering, is he going to be a full-time defensive end? Is he going to be a full-time off-the-ball linebacker? Here's a portion of Micah Parsons' quote. They're expanding my versatility and using me in ways I should be used. That's telling. He was feeling away. And moving me around to make offenses ID me from other places, sending me where they should send me. Zimmer's going to utilize every asset of my ability, and that's something I appreciate, end quote. So not only does this tell you that Weapon X is going to be basically playing a game of forcing the offense to play a game of where's Waldo on any given snap, also tells you that he's been waiting for this opportunity to truly be that versatile guy where you don't know if he's coming off the ball or if he's on the ball. And if he's off the ball, is he going to the quarterback or is he dropping back in coverage? Sounds like Micah and Zimmer have a plan. And to the other point, he did mention that Micah did, that the loss of Sam Williams is not going to alter that plan at all.
Right.
At worst case scenario, if it forces Micah to stay on the field for a couple more downs, which is what Micah said, he said he's in condition with the dropped weight to be able to do that. But maybe not, because that's why they brought in Muhammad and Tony, and hoping that they don't need those extra reps and they can workload manage him over the course of 17, so he will be good in the postseason.
And where he needs the most workload is here in training camp.
Yeah.
You don't want to wear him out here in training
Exactly.
camp, and granted, they don't practice the way we used to, thank God. But they're on their feet. And when you're on your feet standing up out here on this grass 5 or 6 hours a day, that can get tiring.
It can.
Regardless of whether you got on pads or not. So, man, but I like that word you use, ID him in different places, man.
Where's Waldo?
And so when you have to ID him in different places, that means you have to scheme, depending on down and distance in these different places.
Like he said, his rookie year, he needs to be the queen on the chessboard. He needs to be able to move around any direction. Weapon X.
Is that a Turby Turb?
No, two different.
Also, happy birthday to Turby Speed.
Happy birthday to Turbo Turp.
No.
AKA Vontae.
Not at all. When we come back,
Vontae Turpin. His mama name is Vontae. I'm gonna call him Vontae.
We're taking your questions when we come back. Text line is 817-290-3298. More Talkin' Cowboys right after this.
Todd thought it would be secure to jog in the cheetah savanna. Todd believed the big cat repellent he bought online was reliable. And now, Todd is trying to be faster than this cheetah that can run 80 miles per hour. But the good news is, Todd has AT&T 5G that is fast, reliable, and secure. And he learned the best thing to do is stop running and toss her the backpack with the beef stew. AT&T 5G. Fast, reliable, secure.
5G requires compatible plan and device. 5G may not be available in your area. See att.com/5G for you for details.
If you're looking for fresh American roasted coffee that gives back, you need to head to your local grocery store and pick up a bag of Black Rifle coffee. That's right, America's coffee is now available in the coffee aisle of a grocery store near you. Black Rifle Coffee Company is veteran-founded with a mission to give back to those brave men and women who have served our nation. Every bag, box, or can you purchase helps support that mission. Head to your local grocery store and roast yourself some Black Rifle coffee today.
They say champions are remembered, but legends are never forgotten. United Ag and Turf offers a winning lineup of John Deere equipment built to tackle any challenge on and off the field. Legendary John Deere tractors, combines, residential mowers, commercial mowers, compact construction equipment, Gator utility vehicles, and a full line of golf and sports turf equipment. United Ag and Turf, the official Ag and Turf equipment supplier of the Dallas Cowboys. Visit UnitedAgAndTurf.com to find a location near you.
Life doesn't stop when the economy is uncertain. The market might not care you have a wedding to plan or a kid to put through school. And inflation doesn't know you've got a family to feed. But Bank of America does, and is here to help. With digital tools to help you save and local experts nearby, you can keep life moving forward the way you need it to. Bank of America. What would you like the power to do? Learn more at bankofamerica.com. Bank of America N.A., member FDIC, equal credit opportunity lender.
Back to Talkin' Cowboys.
Welcome back to Talkin' Cowboys here from Oxnard, California, training camp. Nate Newton likes the opener. All right. This portion of Talkin' Cowboys is brought to you by Quaker Oats, the official oatmeal sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys. Quaker Oats. Bring out the good.
It's that pause for suspense. I like that. Also, real quick, shouts out to Johnny Lonzell for taking the mower to the other side so the audio can be clear.
They call him Johnny not football. Johnny Lawnmower, right?
Johnny Lawn, a.k.a. Johnny Lonzell. Johnny Footlawn.
Right.
They call him Blade for short.
It's Mo Claiborne.
Okay.
M-O-W.
Mo Claiborne. Bars.
Shouts to him, but I think he's done now. I think we're good.
It's all good.
We got to clean
We're having
up,
fun. That man's doing his job. We're doing our job. It's fun. Facts.
Yes, you know it's training camp when you hear the mower in the background. All right, boys. We had coordinator availability yesterday as well.
We did.
Coach Brian Schottenheimer. Coach, oh my gosh, I'm blanking. John Fossil, Mike Zimmer. Jeez, where am I at today? All right.
Have you had your oatmeal?
I haven't had my oatmeal.
Your Quaker Oats?
I barely even finished my Black Rifle coffee.
That's the problem.
Official sponsor of Talkin' Cowboys.
You haven't had your Quaker Oats because had you had your Quaker Oats, you'd be ready to go.
I would be ready
as you would be every morning with your Quaker Oats.
Bring out the good. No, we can't do Megan Thee Stallion out here, man.
Too late. It's done.
That's an off the podcast thing.
It's done. It's out there.
All right. So the 12th man has become a thing.
Yes.
This is what I gathered yesterday. I wasn't in the Coach Fossil 2-hour lecture.
Shouts out to Fossil for that.
About special teams and the new kickoff rules, which you were in. But that was not the most intriguing, but I was like, wait, we can have 12 men on the field for once? So if at the kickoff,
for once,
a player can come on the field and hold the ball for the kickoff and immediately run off the field. But that is the one rule that will give you a 12th man on the field, where it's okay and it won't cost us a game.
You know what's interesting about there's a lot of interesting parts about the new kickoff rules. And to be honest, and Josh, you and I were talking about this last night, it really is kind of a class. Like, I'm diving into it right now to try to learn the intricacies of it, and I was able to watch Texans versus Bears last night, so we saw it in play in real time, but there's more to be learned. So we're going to be learning it at the same time as the fans are going to be learning it as the season goes on. But between that 12th man rule and the fact that the kickoff rules now make it where the kickoff is basically another play to be called. It's not just, okay, send your special teams out there, kick return. No, you have to be strategic about it.
Scheme.
You have to scheme for it. So, like, you can have up to 10 blockers. This is an example of what I'm talking about. You can have up to 10 blockers, but you could drop one of those blockers back and have 2 returners and 9 men up front. And if you have, and this is what Bones Fossil said yesterday, if you have 2 great returners, that can apply pressure to the opposing team because there's different variations. Number one, which returner is getting the ball if you have 2 back there? The other question is, are both going to stay as returners, or is one going to actually go up and block at the very last second, which is going to throw off what the opposing team is trying to do? Or is it going to be this returner catches the ball and misdirects and throws it to this? So that's going to create a lot of opportunity for a lot of big plays, also for the Cowboys, especially with Turpin, but it creates opportunity for somebody else alongside Turpin to step up and be a returner. I know some people online were saying immediately it's Deuce Vaughn. I think it might be more strategic than that, because if that second returner has to have the ability to randomly go up and block, maybe it's a running back. And maybe you're talking about somebody like Rico Dowdle, who also plays special teams. So it's strategic, and I love that it's going to make the game that much more interesting.
So where the kickoffs at and all of that, just talk about that. The same place, different spots, kickoffs.
Well, it's 40 and 40, okay? And as far as like the blocking is concerned for the return team, there's a 5-yard window in which the blockers can exist, right? So you can only have 3 blockers outside of the hashes, right? And you can have 3 inside, but you can have 4 inside, but it depends on if you're going to drop one back. But it has to be within a 5-yard reference, frame of reference. So it shrinks the amount of blockers, not the amount of blockers, but the amount of real estate those blockers are on. Also key to remember is that no one can move until the ball is either touched by the receiver or it's, a touchback or something to that effect. So you have the landing zone, which is 20 yards, and then you have the end zone itself. Another big takeaway, and again, we're studying this to try to get our hands around this, the returner, barring the ball going out of the back of the end zone, the returner has to touch the ball. So whether it lands in the end zone and kind of just dies like a duck and lays there, or it lands in the landing zone, the green zone, and rolls into the end zone but not out of the back of the end zone. Obviously in the past, if it rolled into the end zone, touchback, plays dead. Now if it rolls into the end zone, if it's just sitting there, the kicking team can run down, pick up that ball, and it's a touchdown for them, right? So little intricacies like that, that's really going to make for a lot of excitement going forward with this kickoff.
For that all to happen in one off season, that's going to be a lot for kick
It's returners
and special teams players to process and be able to, on the fly, understand and be able to produce the results on the field. We kind of got a preview of it last night at the Hall of Fame game, but also the plays weren't going anywhere because they weren't trying to show off what their plan is for the regular season.
So now, even if they catch it in the end zone and don't bring it out, so it brings out to the 25, it goes out to the 30, where does the ball be placed if they don't bring it out the end zone?
That's what we're digging in to learn, because I recall Fossil saying there's a difference in where that ball is basically touched back, for example. So and again, I'm not going to, until we do the full class on it and I dig into it, I just know for a fact it's not equal in each scenario, right? So we'll do some more digging and we'll help break it down to the fans as we get a better understanding of it. But it's nothing like you've ever seen in the NFL. Ever. This is completely different. Scrap everything that you've ever learned about the kickoffs in the NFL, and it's time to just relearn. But that in and of itself is fun. I like learning. Science is fun.
And if you want to look at some of those plays in action, look at the XFL. They had a lot of those plays. They started their league basically off with these new kicking rules whenever they kind of restarted like 2 years ago. So you can see those plays and see the results of them and putting them in different situations, obviously, than we're used to. It's like always on the 25, and then that's how every drive starts. It's on the 25. It's on the 25, unless it's a punt. But more to learn from that. Anything from Coach Zimmer and Coach Schottenheimer that you want to discuss?
Well, Schottenheimer is mostly, focused on, and like he said, and I love the fact that he was like, when he referenced CeeDee Lamb, he said, and I quote, "He'll be here," end quote. We know. CD, just come on, finish handling your business and we'll see you soon. But he talked a lot about, what we're talking about on an episode-to-episode basis as far as like these young receivers taking advantage of the opportunities that they're getting. And then, that includes the three Jalen's. That includes Tyron Billy Johnson, who I had a side chat with, and he gave me some good quotes as well. Go at Voice of the Star, shameless plug. Last night I posted some quotes from him, but David Durden is showing some things, and then you have Kevontae Turpin. Obviously, he's doing some big things with the ones as well. Don't you do it?
Hey, man.
Don't you do it?
I'm just sitting here hosting Talkin Cowboys.
But yeah, Schottenheimer, he spoke highly of the young wide receiver group and that they're taking advantage of their reps. And now we got the popcorn going over there.
Man,
You smell it?
Say my fat.
You smell
My
it?
fatness came on.
It's
I
coming.
almost hollered, popcorn,
It's wafting.
popcorn.
It's wafting.
Yeah, man. So
It's
it ain't just a
wafted.
fat man thing.
Is that? No, I caught that. Speaking to the spirit, right? But no, so he talked about that and basically the level of comfort in the offense as far as the players are concerned. Last year, this time, it was heavy installs. Players were trying to figure out their role and expectations from McCarthy and Schottenheimer, because last year was Schottenheimer's first time as the OC, even though McCarthy's the play caller. Now everybody's comfortable, outside of the rookies who are learning the situation. But
the installs are in place.
Right, the installs are in place. Brandon Cooks, he's playing more freely. Dak Prescott saying he's playing more freely than he's ever played. Jalen Tolbert, obviously Kevontae Turpin. So they just need to figure out the running backs room, and that was interesting as well because Schottenheimer is not shying away from the fact that they're trying to figure out the running backs rotation. Counting Hunter Lipke, you got 8 guys back there. You're not going to carry 8 guys into the season. So, yeah, they're going to have to figure that out over the next 4 weeks.
That's El Boogie, actually.
El Boogie?
El Boogie.
Who's El Boogie?
Hunter Lipke.
Hunter Lipke?
If you listen to the Players Lounge,
El Boogie.
They've coined it.
Okay.
Okay, if Players Lounge comes up with a name, it's fine. But if Josh Rodriguez does,
it's
unacceptable according to Patrick Walker.
Let's go with that. That's not entirely untrue, but
It's Fan Friday. Let's jump into some fan questions. Boys, are we ready?
What questions y'all got for Big Nate? Fire away.
We want to know. All right, Nate, what is the TE room looking like, the tight end room looking like behind Jake Ferguson? Haven't heard much from Spanford, and is he the extra lineman type?
We got to bring him back because he's thinking popcorn. Bring him back.
Yeah. No.
What are we thinking of the tight ends aside from Jake?
Luke Schoonmaker. Is I'm pronouncing that right?
Yep.
You are, yes.
We need him to show up and be very, very consistent this year. He's had some nice catches in practice. He's staying healthy, and we need for him to show up. I think Peyton Hendershot, this is this year to either make it big, kind of move to the next level. So, because with John Stevens coming back, they're gonna ask for this guy. I don't know if I'm pronouncing his last name right. They're gonna ask a little bit more from this guy. So it's gonna be a little tight race. But I'm looking for Luke Schoonmaker to make this thing happen. I mean, you gotta make it happen somehow, some way.
It's a crowded, and I'll make this real quick because it's straightforward for me for the tight ends. Jake Ferguson is Jake Ferguson, and I believe he's going to have an all-pro season that taps on 1,000 yards if it doesn't get right over that. It's like Big Nate said, Luke Schoonmaker needs to remain healthy and then continue to stack good days. But he's not going anywhere. He's your second-round pick from last year, okay? John Stevens Jr. would have made the roster last year if not for the torn ACL. So that tells me he's going to make the roster this year, and he's looking good in his return from a torn ACL. We know what Princeton Fan is. Princeton Fan is more of the blocker right? He's getting what Sean McEwen used to get for the most part. So I believe Princeton Fant gets a nod, if only for special teams and spot blocking, inline blocking, things like that. Here comes the question, right? Alec Holler, Peyton Hendershot, Brevin Spanford. Of those three, Peyton Hendershot, he's giving you special teams reps, but he didn't flash last year like he did as a rookie. Okay, Brevin Spanford was one of the higher priority undrafted free agents for the Cowboys. They gave him a good amount of guaranteed money, and he looks very much the part, both physically and on the field. Peyton Hendershot versus Brevin Spanford versus John Stevens. That's basically what I'm looking at. So Peyton Hendershot, he's kind of up against the wall there. He needs to really go out there over the remainder of training camp and show that he deserves to be on the roster against a guy like Brevin Spanford, the rookie trying to come in and take his spot. Because, again, John Stevens, Luke Schoonmaker, Jake Ferguson, I believe they're on the roster. I think Princeton Fant gets a nod because of what he does, his skill set. Outside of that, it's a battle royale between Holler, Spanford, and Hendershot.
That being said, I don't think it's being talked about enough how good John Stevens is at run blocking.
Talk.
I mean, it's obviously it's very good. And not only are his measurables there, but he is a great run blocker so far, as we've seen this far in camp. I know I'll say it again.
On August 2nd.
But we saw that last year too, and he was also making incredible catches last year at camp. So
and he's added weight. He's added lean muscle to be a better blocker.
I think for me that's it right there. Jake, Schoonmaker, John Stevens, and then that fourth spot, I have no idea. Spanford?
It's Spanford wants it. Hendershot wants it. Holler wants it. Fant wants it. Of those last four names I mentioned, though, Fant is more of a blocking specialist, right? So I feel like he has an inside track there. But Peyton Hendershot and Brevin Spanford, they're fighting for the same they're fighting with the same skill set, so to speak. They both want to show that they can make plays down the field. Who can actually continue to do that in training camp, that's who's going to win that job.
Health and consistency.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely. Nate, do you think that Jake Ferguson takes that next step? Do you think he's capable of the all-pro?
Everybody loves this kid. Other tight ends off other teams love this kid. I've heard the 49ers tight end talk about him. I've heard just other players talk about you and say you're up and coming. That means you got a little swag to you. So, and this kid works. He doesn't mind working. He doesn't mind doing what's necessary for the team. He's one of the few guys when things were shady for our quarterback at the beginning of the season. He walked up to the quarterback and said, "Hey, man,
Green Bay.
I'm riding with you. Whatever happened, I'm with you."
Yep.
Hey, bro, that goes a long way. That goes a long way, man.
You just mentioned it there. That Green Bay game, one of the 1-2 Cowboys that showed up in that game.
Jake Ferguson was him. Listen, and to Nate's point, when Travis Kelce looks at a tight end and says he's got next, which is exactly what's happened with Jake Ferguson, and then you see Ferguson going out there and proving him right, what more do you need to see?
All right, another fan question. This is from TJ in Baltimore. With all of Brendan Aubrey's success last season, and assuming all goes well at camp, do you see it being automatic to go for 60-yard field goals? I don't think we should be worried about field goals.
Depend on the team. Depend on the situation and what's on the line.
Why you get me started on this?
That's what that's about. But I really don't like my kickers, even if they can make 60. I like my kickers 45 yards and in.
Thank you.
I like to give them. I like for my kids to have high success rates, and that means I need a great offense.
Thank you.
I need a great offense. I don't want to rely on no kicker for nothing.
If you're relying on 60-yard field goals, it means that your third down conversion rate sucks. It means that you're not, to borrow the phrase from the late great John Madden, you're not matriculating the ball down the field effectively on a down-to-down basis. So I'm right there with Big Nate. I don't want to see 60-yard field goals unless the game is on the line.
Yes.
It's situational for me. But if I'm understanding the question, to default to 60-yard field goals being okay over the course of a game, no. Task your offense with moving the ball and moving the chains, and you won't have to worry about 60-yard field goals. Hell, you won't have to worry about 40, 45-yarders because hopefully you're punching the ball in whenever you get a chance.
Don't you know what a 60-yard field goal if you miss where the other team start at?
Yeah. Field position is also that. So, can Brandon Aubrey do it? Absolutely he can. But don't – just pretend he can't until you absolutely need to be reminded that he can. That's how I look at it.
Thank you.
Next question. This is from the 757. He did not leave a name. But are the Cowboys going to use their backs more so in the passing game this season?
I think they are. I think McCarthy's been waiting on an opportunity to use them. Tony started out slow a little. He wasn't healthy as he should have been, and he'd get healthy until late in the season. But I think that will have to be part of the game plan. That short passing game is a long handle run game.
Mm-hmm.
And Zeke and Rico Dowdle and Hunter Lemke, because those are my three backs. If anybody else barge their way in there, fine. But I'm not. Those are the three guys I'm looking for, and all three of them can catch the ball. So I'm good with that.
Was that Venom on me? Like
yeah,
Peter Parker?
It was Venom, but he's done now.
Listen, Eddie Brock, we're trying to do a show here. I believe that Mike McCarthy is going to utilize. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Is this Kyle Yeomans and Isaiah Stanback
kicking us off the show?
Oh, my guys are here.
What's up, boys?
My guys are here.
Welcome back, Kyle Yeomans. Welcome back, Isaiah Stanback to Talkin Cowboys. The show is now.
Let me tell you about these two prima donnas.
The show is now complete, everybody.
Himself and Mr. Black College Football himself, NFL Network. Oh man, we got some dudes up in here now,
bro. Level A.
Cowboys great.
We got some dudes up in here, man.
Hey man, y'all stay in the frame. Don't go nowhere. Don't stay in this frame. I'm gonna finish this answer real quick. Stay in this frame. Okay, so Mike McCarthy, I do believe, is going to use the running backs more as far as receivers out of the backfield. We're already seeing that with Deuce Vaughn, which kind of serves double duty because they're also trying to figure out the niche for Deuce Vaughn going forward. But you're going to see it more from Deuce Vaughn. You're going to see it from Hunter Lipke. I posted a couple of practice clips 2 days ago when in a span of 3 plays, Hunter Lipke leaked out of the backfield, got into the middle of the linebacker set. It was space. He turned around, he sat down, and he got the ball from Dak Prescott. So from that moving forward, you're going to see more of, like Big Nate was saying, those quick hits out of the backfield, kind of acting as like quasi-run plays to keep the defenses off balance.
All right, boys, let's take our last break. When we come back, more from Kyle Yeomans.
My guys are here.
More from Isaiah Stanback. We'll be right back after this.
Prima donnas.
Todd thought it would be secure to jog in the cheetah savanna. Todd believed the big cat repellent he bought online was reliable. And now, Todd is trying to be faster than this cheetah that can run 80 miles per hour. But the good news is, Todd has AT&T 5G that is fast, reliable, and secure. And he learned the best thing to do is stop running and toss her the backpack with the beef stew. AT&T 5G. Fast, reliable, secure.
5G requires compatible plan and device. 5G may not be available in your area. See att.com/5G for you for details.
It's the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys, Jack Black. And right now, Cowboys fans can get 15% off their $75 order. Plus, because every deal needs a playmaker, your order will include a free 5-piece skincare set and free shipping. The Jack Black Playmaker is 4 of Jack's favorites and a full-sized intense therapy lip balm. Make a play for the playmaker at getjackblack.com/Cowboys with the code CowboysVIP. That's getjackblack.com/Cowboys with the code CowboysVIP.
Welcome back into Dear Doctor, the show where I answer life's questions with an ice-cold can of Dr. Pepper. Sheila, let's hear from our next caller, would you?
Dear Doctor, my friend supported me during a tough time, but what's the right gift that says, thanks for being a shoulder to cry on?
Okay, this one's easy. I say give her a delicious Dr. Pepper. Nothing says, thanks, girl, better than a one-of-a-kind soda. Yes, any Dr. Pepper flavor will do. Now, just a reminder that I don't need to be a real doctor to know that Dr. Pepper is the one you deserve.
If you're looking for fresh American roasted coffee that gives back, you need to head to your local grocery store and pick up a bag of Black Rifle coffee. That's right, America's coffee is now available in the coffee aisle of a grocery store near you. Black Rifle Coffee Company is veteran-founded with a mission to give back to those brave men and women who have served our nation. Every bag, box, or can you purchase helps support that mission. Head to your local grocery store and roast yourself some Black Rifle coffee today.
Back to Talkin Cowboys.
Welcome back to Talkin Cowboys live in Oxnard, California. We are joined by Kyle Yeomans. We are joined by Isaiah Stanback, Patrik Nosey Walker. I'm Josh Rodriguez. This is the full Talkin Cowboys crew.
Yes.
This is us. This is finally us. We are complete like Thanos. We are inevitable. The Infinity Stones are back together. This portion of Talkin Cowboys is brought to you by Invisalign, the official smile of the Dallas Cowboys. Thank you guys so much for being here. We got to give them the pause. That's for the people back home watching the Pearly Whites.
Yeah, facts.
Do you guys want to hear a story?
Yes,
do want to hear a
please.
story.
You want to hear a story of how we got here?
No, I don't.
So Isaiah and I set it up a couple weeks ago where we were booking the flight out to Oxnard, and of course I haven't been here because my wife and I had triplets in February.
Congratulations.
Babies at home. They're all healthy. They're all doing great. We just wanted to help out. My wife's a rock star for even letting me come out here, period.
Absolutely.
So unbelievable that she's even letting me do this for the shortened amount of time. But we scheduled this flight out here about a month ago, and we were in row 22F, the window seat, and row 22D, the aisle seat, and that's what Isaiah and I had. The middle seat was still open.
What happened was?
Well, within the last couple of weeks, our producer, Caden Gates, who is also here with us. Yeah, shout outs to Caden.
Yeah.
He made the trip out there with us, and they added him on late. And we were looking on the American app, and I said, hey, Caden, the seat in between Isaiah and I is open.
Ice cream sandwich.
So I was like, go ahead and book it. So he books it. He's good to go. He books it. We're ready to roll. So going into last night in the check-in process, I thought we were all sitting together in this 22F.
Yeah.
Well, you check in on the American Airlines app, and the great deals that they have on the American app, they actually had a seat upgrade possibility.
Boom.
To go to first class.
Beamer style.
And it was like $94. It was nothing. And you get like a bag checked free.
Two
bags checked free.
You know how it costs $45 already
Fact.
just to check.
Yeah, just to check your bag.
Right. So it's like
it
not even a tall upgrade, like first class seat. And I looked at it, I was like, man, I'm going to be getting up at 3 a.m. I was like, I haven't gotten a lot of sleep lately anyways because of the babies. I was like, I could go first class here. But you know what? We're sitting together. I'm going to go ahead and pass on it.
You did it? I know where this is going now.
I'm going to go ahead and pass on this to be a team player. To be able to sit with my two brothers and have a good time on the flight over. Sure enough, we get there. We get to the airport this morning, and we see each other at the gate. And they say, like, hey, group one, on your way. And Isaiah stands up.
And stand back, not stand by.
Yeah. I looked at Isaiah. I was like, dude, what are you doing? And he was like, oh, no, I'm first class. I'm like, no, you're not. You're in 22.
Isaiah said,
that's a show right on.
Isaiah said, listen,
that is how we got here.
Isaiah said, there's no
first class.
Listen, Isaiah said
it was $45.
Isaiah said there's no I in team, but there is in VIP.
Yeah. Yeah.
Listen, the way my legs are set up, see?
Oh, stop it. Stop
The
it.
build.
Dude, the worst case
That's
scenario
hilarious,
would have
bro.
been if I decided to do it too. And we told Caden to take the middle seat.
Caden would look like Will Smith on the final episode.
You look back there, he's like, it's all right, guys.
He takes the middle seat of this flight with two strangers after we told him to book the middle seat, and we both take off to first class.
job being a
I'm
team
glad that
player.
didn't
I can see him
happen.
back there like, oh, it's fine, guys. Don't worry.
Listen,
kidding me?
I was operating.
Explain yourself,
I was
Isaiah.
operating off of no sleep. Okay, I just got back from taking my daughter to track nationals. Okay, I literally got zero sleep last night.
Okay.
Zero. Operating off zero. Okay, I was watching the Olympics at 3 o'clock this morning. All right, I came straight to the airport. My legs, I needed the extension.
Group
the
one now
extendos.
boarding.
I needed the extendos, the go-go gadgets, so that I can stretch out and get some sleep. Because otherwise, I wouldn't be able to come here and be with y'all.
Yeah, and you know what the first thing he said whenever he popped off?
Bro, I was asleep before they even finished boarding.
He was like, dude, I just got 3 full hours. I was like, it must have been nice, dog. It must have been nice.
As you sit there exhausted from the trip.
Yeah, my knees are hurting. My neck's cricket. Like it's bad.
Kane sitting in the middle seat. He had to use the bathroom, and the person in the aisle was asleep.
The person in that seat that
It
Isaiah
always
was
happens
supposed
to
be in.
Caden, man.
Oh, poor Caden.
So
stuff.
so we're not
They're
talking
back.
football right now.
We are back, baby.
It's back.
This
Yeah.
is-
Yeah, we're
this is
taking
back
fan
in
talking
questions.
American Airlines.
Fan questions.
We got a couple more.
Yeah, let's go.
Before we
let the
call
guys
it a
eat.
day.
Let the brothers eat.
Let's go with, you guys have been thinking about this since last season. If you had to bet, when would you say the Cowboys will win another Super Bowl? In the next 5 years, 10 years,
welcome to the city.
20, or 40?
First
you
question
guys-
of training
The drought
camp.
has to end one day.
Right out of
does have to end.
Let's start with Isaiah. You're more rested.
Yeah.
So you start, VIP. First
When will
classer.
the Cowboys win another Super Bowl? Anybody could throw anything against the wall right now, right?
Of course.
So there's no real predictions there. I mean, I am excited to see what these guys are able to put together this year. Obviously, every year is exciting, but obviously with the new defensive coordinator coming in, seeing how these guys bond together. Once this offense gets together and gets settled in, seeing what they do. But also, I mean, not outside of which is what they're able to do, it's about your division as well. So about your division, it's about your conference. So there's so many factors, man. So I can't answer that question right now.
Well, and I think the NFC being wide open right now, and the fact that you could arguably have the best quarterback in your entire conference, not even just the division, and maybe the one guy that's the contender in that is in your division with Jalen Hurts and company, but it's still possible. Let's not get it twisted. This is still a good football team. They're returning 9 former All-Pros, and by All-Pros I mean guys that have won that honor in the last 2 seasons. So, I mean, they have talent. The depth is where I have some questions. And in order to win a Super Bowl, you have to have depth. So I think it's going to take some time. I don't think they're in that contending space now. If they want to make some moves and get to that point, I think that's possible because they have the top-end talent. It's the depth and the longevity and the durability. We're already seeing it tested. We had one injury with Sam Williams at the defensive end position, and they go and they sign 2 guys because they know that depth is being tested. So as soon as that happens at corner, as soon as that happens at linebacker, as soon as that happens at wide receiver, running back, I mean anything. Yeah. It could be anything on this roster.
Starting 11 looks good.
You're starting 22 guys you feel pretty good about.
Right.
But outside of that is where you have some questions, and I think in order to win a Super Bowl, you have to have depth, and I don't think this team has it.
Well, excellent points, plural, made by both Kyle and Isaiah, and I'll kind of dovetail off of one of Kyle's points. Let's shrink it. Win your division.
Yep.
Compete within your division.
You can do that.
Okay. If you compete within your division and win your division, especially a division as good as the NFC East, you may end up in second place in the NFC East, and that should be good enough to get you into the playoffs. And then at that point, the question is, what does everybody's team look like? Because everybody's team is not going to look the same come January 2nd, 3rd, 4th as it looks going into training camp because you have injuries, you have attrition and things like that. So what moves will the Cowboys make over the course of the season? The trade deadline got pushed back a little bit this year. What kind of trades do they make to kind of bolster defensive tackle? What free agency signings do they make to bolster defensive tackle and some of these other positions? So I do believe that the Cowboys, as we have this conversation, August 2nd, are they in the Super Bowl conversation? No. Can they be? Yes, but it depends on how they handle the roster management between now and the end of the season. And as far as the window for the Super Bowl, I will say, based on all of the variables, Mike McCarthy is on a contract year. I do believe Dak's going to get done. I could not be more confident that CeeDee Lamb is going to get done. I believe it gets done. But that being said,
we out of time on the show.
that being said, bottom line is the head coach is on a contract year. Okay, Mike Zimmer, your new defensive coordinator on a contract year. Nobody wants to talk about it, but the fact is, Will McClay, what's his future look like in Dallas? So if the Cowboys, it's not a now or never, but it's a now or we're not having this conversation again for the next 8 to 10 years.
It's a show me year.
Yeah, it is 100% a show me year.
If you talk about the window of opportunity is always a very heavy thing. It's a
Debo window right now.
It's
a Debo window.
Right.
It's still there.
It's a Debo window.
He's out trying to creep through.
It's a
What
Debo
you doing
window.
It's thinning out. It's thinning out.
What you doing here?
I have one more question for both of you before we wrap up. You're here. You just got here. For people that don't know, they literally just flew
walked in
this morning.
I'm not even checking into the room yet.
Not even checked into the room.
All stars.
So from afar, you've been kind of keeping up with training camp. Who are you most excited to get your eyes on now that you're on the field right here behind you? You got the players.
You want
right
me to go
behind
first?
you.
I'll take Tyler Guyton. I want to see it because on film, the footwork, the strength, the power, and then, I mean, especially when he was working with the first team snaps. I know Chuma had that banged up injury in the first day of pads. He was back for the second day of pads, and a lot of those first team reps went back to Chuma. I think Tyler Guyton was more impressive in his first team snaps than Chuma Edoga was, and by think, I mean, the eye in the sky doesn't lie. I mean, watching the film, Guyton was powerful, but I want to see it in person. I want to see it up close, and you'll see me. If you want to find me on the field today, if you're coming out to Oxnard, I'm going to be over by the offensive lineman. That's where I will be watching because I want to see Tyler Guyton. I haven't seen him with my own eyes yet. I want to see how he's able to continue that footwork, continue building because he's still a rookie. But right now, I'm more excited about what I've seen from Tyler Guyton than I was at this point a couple years ago when Tyler Smith was a first-round draft pick on the offensive line. I had questions around Tyler Smith this early in camp. Tyler Guyton has answered a lot of those questions early, and it's exciting to look forward to.
DeMarvion Overshown.
That's a good one,
I
too.
like it.
That's what I want to see.
He's been awesome.
Not only just because I like him as a person. I was excited about him last year prior to him tearing his ACL in the preseason game, but I want to see how he bounces back from that injury. There's been a number of guys, unfortunately, in this organization that have sustained that same injury, and not everybody came back the same type of player. So I'm interested to see exactly how he's moving. That's something I always like. Last year I was watching, Gallup over the last few years in terms of him coming back from his injury, and I was able to tell pretty early on that I was like, not sure how that he's ever going to really come back, unfortunately. That was just from my eyes seeing it here at camp. I want to see, can Overshown get in and out of his breaks? Can he come downhill? What's his acceleration looking like? Does he have the confidence? So that linebacker position, obviously, especially with Zimmer coming in, the culture there matters, but also the speed matters because they don't necessarily have all the size.
See, this is Red River rivalry. This is Texas
Yeah,
and
it
OU.
is.
That's
Yes.
what we want to see. And he was sitting in first class. I was more of a general economy guy,
Right.
just making sure
Blue collar, if you will.
like make
More
sure
blue
that I'm
collar.
here to work.
Yeah.
He's here for the flash. He's here for the equipment room.
Offensive
he's got all
coordinator,
that stuff.
defensive coordinator. Right?
Yeah, that's it.
He's here for the Zimmer glimmer.
All right, boys, that's going to be it for Talking Cowboys. We're out of time, but I want to thank Isaiah Stanback. I want to thank Kyle Yeomans for jumping on here first thing. The first thing that they did was jump
Couldn't
on
wait.
Talking Cowboys.
Literally could not
Finally
wait.
got the lineup back together.
Waiting for
and a
my guys,
huge,
man.
gigantic thank you to Nate Newton for being on the
Nate
show
dog.
the last 2 weeks.
sir.
We really appreciate you more than you know. Thank you all so much for tuning in to Talking Cowboys.
Just
We will
relax.
see you on Tuesday.
Can't hide money.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!